AITA for banning my mom's creepy boyfriend from my son's first birthday. I 27F am the only child of my mother's 45F that has given her grandchildren. She isn't very involved but has been trying more in the past few years. This will start with some backstory because it's what makes me feel more justified in my actions. Although my grandmother 83F thinks I am acting out of line, my mom herself has 8 children and I am second oldest, and my older sister is from a past relationship. She left my dad when I was 5 after having 5 children with him. She had cheated and planned on moving us into the city with her new boyfriend. He was probably the worst of the dad replacements, but he didn't last long till she cheated again and ended up with the guy I guess I would consider my stepfather. They eventually had 2 kids together, making us 8. My mom couldn't handle it and was a heavy alcoholic. We all grew up in foster care. When I was 15, she started getting the kids back. I had bounced around to a few homes but was never thrilled at the idea of going home. Imagine my surprise when she tells me she doesn't want me, that she didn't want me back. As much as it stung, I told her I didn't want to go back anyway, that my life was better without her. But who would have guessed it? When I was 19, she would cheat on him too and leave another man ruined in her wake. It is not all her fault. They weren't exactly winners to begin with. She was still an alcoholic and always did substances while I was growing up. Enter Mark 50M. This is the creepy man who rode the ice cream bike. I have never been a huge fan, but they started dating while I was no contact with my mother. When I had my first son at 23, my mom tried turning her life around and was excited to be a grandma. Although I had my reservations, I have been opting to give her a chance. He has been with my mom for a while now, but his highlights are making a comment to my 15-year-old sister about her mini skirt being easy access, and that being his favorite thing about it. Never having a job since he has met my mom unless it's minimal. She works full-time now, and he stays home with my younger brother's 1415M. Loves to drink beer and drinks more than my mom but will constantly yell at her for her drinking and devil's lettuce use. He tells her constantly that all her adult children hate him and her, and manipulate my mom out of spending time with her grandchildren. He has done some good things, though, helping my elderly grandfather with dementia when my grandmother had gotten in a car accident, and often visiting to help her out whenever she asks. Needless to say, my grandmother loves him, and often takes his side when him and my mother argue. My issue with him is that he makes everything about him. I have never really spoken negatively to him until this last month when he has just been super over the top. But I have had a few issues in the past, which I have expressed to my mother. I had my second son last year, and at this point, my mom had visited me maybe 10 times in the first 3 years of my son's life, partially COVID's fault. When my son was born last year, I refused to come to the hospital because I apparently hate him. Despite only meeting him a few times, my mom got a job close by to my new place, so she could walk the 10 minutes to my place to visit me and baby. But when she came by, she would get bombarded with text messages and then he would give her the cold shoulder the next few days. My mother tried to fix this by then asking him to come with her. I had no problem with this as she calls him my kid's grandfather. Why shouldn't he come by once in a while? Every time he came, he brought adult beverages. My agreement with my mother: she was not allowed to hold the kids if she was drinking. She was working on things, and I appreciated the efforts she initially made in the first 6 months. We had about 3 visits where Mark had come over to my place and would drink and awkwardly sit on my sofa scrolling his phone, and of course not without a beer in hand. He often complained that my 3-year-old was too crazy and asked if we could watch anything else but kids shows. My son has ASD level 3. He is definitely crazy, but as my mom had 8 kids, she has no fear when it comes to him and shows him compassion on a level I have never received from her. He, who struggled through dealing with the 2 left at home already teenagers, has no idea what to do. His comments didn't bug me, as it's usual for my son to be overwhelming. What did, however, was him getting too drunk, starting an argument, and walking off into the night every single time. This, unfortunately, isn't unusual for him. He often leaves my mother wherever she is, not saying a word, often using the guise of "I am going for a cigarette." He left her in all kinds of places, restaurants, karaoke, and more often, just walking out into the night altogether. The problem with this is that he is legally blind and an albino, so he sticks out and gets heckled a lot. I held my son's first Christmas at my house, and he made the whole night awful by walking off into the night after getting too drunk and upset with my mother for reasons he wouldn't even say. It was -35 and freezing. We live in Canada, and he barely dresses right. At this point, it had moved, and it was now a 2-hour walk. My mom ran off into the night searching all over for him. He didn't take his phone or his keys with him, and my mother was freaking out about his well-being. My mother has stopped coming over altogether now. He makes an issue whenever I call, claiming I hate him, or telling my mother to calm down when she gets excited, showing him her grandchild learning to walk over the phone. To be fair, he took a few steps and then my mom showed the phone to him, where the little guy kept falling. Maybe he was annoyed he didn't see it. I miss her and thought we were starting to turn a new page. She is drinking a lot again and more heavily when they fight, which seems to be every other day. Last week was my son's first birthday, and today we did his party. I invited my mother a while ago, but she said she had worked the actual day of the party. But his birthday she wasn't working and would come over. 4 days before my son's birthday, Mark left, but this time he had left a note, saying he wasn't good enough for this family and whatever else to let my mom know. If anything happens, it's her fault. He left his keys, wallet, and phone. It took 2 days of my mom crying and scared, being practically inconsolable, while calling the police asking for updates, and if they had found him. Then he came back. My mom has been distant, and I have tried reaching out multiple times. She didn't even call on her grandson's birthday. The party went great, and the kids had a blast. My grandma asked why I hadn't invited Mark, and why no one from Mom's house showed up. I said something along the lines of, I would never ask him to events anymore because I refuse to let my son's birthday also be about him. She seemed shocked by this, as he treats her so well and is a good man to my mother. I think she is just a butt crazy, but I told her I invited the people who care and want to be there for his day, not the people who are forced to interact with him. She sighed, and when she left, she seemed a little disappointed in me. I felt like I stood my ground, but AITA